ma'am. Good
Hello.
evening to everyone. Welcome to the GLF Online Edition 3.0. Yes, and today we are having our panelists Emma Masood and Shika Srivastav. Both are very much celebrated persons in their respective professions. And yes, today we have got some very interesting topics to discuss. And before going to the topic, let us have some personal dynamics with the introductions. Let me give some introduction. Yeah, Hema Masood, and she is the renowned author and uh, spiritual speaker in India. And Hema Masood is basically from New Delhi, and she has completed her schooling in Bangalore MCC College, and she is the basketball and the hockey player in her schooling and college days. And she is having a very good experience in this topic which we got today: consciousness versus alternative reality and how to comprehend that. So she wrote her first book at the age of 29, and till now she wrote 8 books. I think her last book is about to release, and there were very good concepts which she wrote. Eternal Ocean of Brahma, her first book, and Lord Krishna Drama. Her first book released in 1994, and basically we are in schooling days at that time, and we are glad that we are sharing this opportunity with her. And the second book released in 1996, and from there she continuously released the books, and till now she has released 8 books. And yes, and this is the basic things about this Hema ma'am. And now coming to the Shikhar Srivastava, and he is the most important man, and he is the most celebrated man, and my salute to you, boss. And he is the Lieutenant Colonel of Indian Army, and he is working as a helicopter pilot and based on Shimla location. And basically, what we want to say, only just my love and my respect towards him. And I'm very glad that I'm getting this presentation, this session in this at this moment. And I thank the organizers also for choosing us in this session. And basically, we three are from 3 different backgrounds, and the concept which we got, the consciousness versus alternative reality and how to comprehend them, that was a very beautiful concept. Actually, the concept itself is also having a different dimension, and the concept itself also is a different dimension for us to present. And we are from 3 different backgrounds, and yes, we are 3 connected interlinkedly. We are interconnected with the basic concept is consciousness and alternative reality in our books, and we 3 are the authors. And Shikhar ji has written the book, and it's about to publish. It's a consciousness game. And myself, I'm Anil Kartikeya, and I am from Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Yes, I have wrote a book, and it's the name Art of Queen, and we will discuss that regarding that book in this session at the last of the session. And yes, basically I'm a steel professional. I'm working in steel plant from last 1 decade in different steel plants in India, and right now I'm currently working with one of the first top and leading steel plant in India. Yes, and now I think we can go to the concept now. It's I will take it into the concept, and just we can have a debate session. Basically, the consciousness versus alternative reality. Consciousness is, these are the endless oceans and countless transformations which happens in our mind. Is the consciousness basically, it should happen in our mind, and the consciousness is a life and all the things of our body which it does, because we are alive with our basic 5 senses, which is completely related with our physical body. The basic 5 senses of our physical body. What are the basic 5 senses? Touch, speech, hear, smell, taste, and sight, looking, seeing. And these are the basic 5 senses. And consciousness is something that our prediction power, the prediction ability of our prediction with these basic 5 senses. And this alternate reality is nothing but a transcendental truth, something related to a spiritual world, which has nothing to do with our physical body, and we don't need those 5 basic senses also. And it is also a fourth dimension where we are not related to, and something which we need to realize, because this alternative reality is such a thing, everything is inside us. And the basic thing for this consciousness is our willpower, and the basic thing to start this alternate reality is the trust and belief. What we show in this is basically we will discuss on the alternative reality. And the consciousness and transcendentalism, this alternative reality are such deep topics which which raise the curiosity inside us naturally, because these are the transformations happening inside that pull us to know what is inside us and what is outside, which our eyes can see, which our eyes can see. So these are something to master. These are not something to master. These are something to discover. So this is the basic which I am giving here, and just I will now hand over to Emma ma'am for the further conclusion debate, and we will go ahead. Emma ma'am, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Anil. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. And let us discover what we can with such an intriguing topic. So consciousness, it's a single word, but it conjures images in our mind of the grandeur of God, or sometimes a vast, magnificent portrayal of the supreme consciousness. Some, like Shikhar as a helicopter pilot, may perceive the glories of nature, while others may perceive images of their guru and guides. And I'm certain that all our viewers have various preconceived notions of consciousness. My perception of consciousness is a flow of energy. It suffuses the universe. This flow or river of light contains all the knowledge within it that we need to attain enlightenment. In our daily lives and in our pursuit of knowledge, we can tune into that flow, to that river of light, and to those frequencies with which we resonate and finally comprehend. Supposing you grasp higher knowledge, that sounds like jargon to you. It is so meaningless. It is like giving a young child of 6 a book or her to comprehend the nuances of his writings. But if you give the child a book of fairy tale or comics, it is something that he can comprehend and enjoy. So each one of us tunes in or taps that part of consciousness to which we are ready to understand and comprehend. Alternate dimensions, alternate realities. The simplest explanation of alternate dimensions is that what we can see with our physical eyes around us belongs to the dimension of Earth. There are other dimensions of energy that maybe unicorns running, but you can't see it and nor can I. That is because unicorns have a different vibrational frequency and we can only perceive them when we attune our higher self to their frequencies. And dear viewers or my co-panelists, Anil and Shikhar, there may be aliens fighting around you. You may be sitting in the midst of an intergalactic war, but you're not injured because it's all happening in a different dimension. Basically, on planet Earth, we live with a 3D body or a 3-dimensional life, which means the past, present, and future, because we follow linear time. In cosmic time and from the universal perspective, all this exists simultaneously. So you could be alive in 1450, you can be alive now. Time from the universal perspective is simultaneously. And I will explain this in depth a little later. But alternative realms also exist simultaneously and occupy the same space as you do. So there may be a vast dimension occurring around me, but I am physically sitting here, but they are vibrating at a different frequency. And because of the difference in this vibration, I cannot intermingle with the other dimension that is around me. So we are only familiar with the dimension of Earth and what we see with our physical eyes. There are rare occasions when energetic rifts occur and 2 dimensions meet. This is what happens in the Bermuda Triangle dimension.
Yeah, I think your voice is a bit disturbing. Sir, is it okay for you?
Yeah. I will continue my discussion on alternate dimensions after Shikhar Srivastava speaks about his view on consciousness. You could not hear my voice? Was it clear?
Yeah.
Ma'am, I'll give an example for what both of you have spoken. Like first Anil was speaking. Let me put it simply because when I have interacted with people, they have no idea absolutely what is the thing which we call consciousness. Okay, when to put it simply, when a soul arrives inside a magical box of creation called Prakriti, it has to acquire a body, it has to take birth. Interaction is taking place between soul and the Prakriti is taking place at two levels. One, body is interacting with Prakriti, like Anil described, but behind that, soul is interacting with human body. The medium by which it is interacting is called as consciousness. All right, soul is a different entity, your human body is there, and the interaction which is taking place in between, that is the term which we refer to as consciousness or the inner voice. All right, what ma'am has been explaining about alternate reality, I'll sum it up with one example only. Suppose there is a two dimensional drawing of a man on a piece of paper, okay, and I blow a balloon in front of him, and after some time the balloon bursts. What do you think the man might have seen? That two dimensional man, he will see a line growing up, growing bigger, and suddenly disappearing. Okay, his perception of reality, because he can see only in one direction, in two dimensions, will be very different from us because we are seeing it in three dimensions. We can see the bubble burst. For him, it has magically disappeared. All right. So, I'll introduce one more thing. Do you know there's a physical part inside your body which is called the seat of consciousness, and it is connected, which is responsible for connecting us to the higher beings or higher dimensions or rings? Physical part, body part.
Yes, interesting. Yeah, please. What is it?
Okay. Uh, but I mean, people can Google it. It's called a pineal gland, also known as third eye. Okay. Now, why it's called third eye is because it is shaped exactly like an eye. It has got water around it. Only thing is, like our two eyes look in front, it looks upwards towards the brain. Okay. And it releases certain pineal gland is the seat of called the seat of consciousness. Okay. And it releases various type of hormones, directly injects them into the brain. But the most important hormone, which has been recently discovered, is known as DMT. Okay, that is a short form. DMT is also known as the spirit molecule. That is a molecule which is present in all living and beings like plants, animals, this thing. And now scientists are contemplating this fact whether this is the molecule responsible for universal communication. Whether we are talking or not, every human being is interacting with each other with the help of this. Okay, and this is the molecule which it gets secreted when people have near death experiences or things like that, when they say we have seen God, we have come back, or these kind of things. So all kind of psychedelic effect or out of the world experiences, this particular molecule is responsible. It through deep meditation also you can release this molecule, or through artificial injection also you can take this. Nowadays these are there, but if you take it artificially, it there are chances you'll go mad. Okay, it can really affect your sanity.
Yeah, well said, Shikarji.
Interesting.
And adding to your point in consciousness, just yeah, the basic things which you said. One more thing which I want to add: this consciousness is something that which we feel that it is self-questioning of ours. We should question ourselves. It is a self-questioning process until we reach some self-satisfaction. Until unless we get some self-satisfaction, everyone should have a process of self-questioning, and until we reach the self-satisfaction, this is some sort of consciousness which we are, or which the today's world need to have, which I guess. Any opinion on this?
See, see, all kind of knowledge which is there on this earth today, it came suddenly to people. Okay, Einstein, while sitting, suddenly he discovers one day that there's something known as gravity. Tesla. If you read the history of these great scientists, the knowledge uh, they have suddenly received as if from nature while they were in a state of deep contemplation or deep meditation. It has happened invariably with everybody. In India, also we consider that there are gurus who did sadhana. They got some. So the knowledge which we are getting, it is we are not discovering it. We are maybe rediscovering it, or it is being given by divine. Like ma'am has also written somewhere, she gets these. And even scientists, most of them in their testimonies, they have written this. Okay. So you see, there is always a voice guiding us. Okay. Now, if you harmonize your mental frequencies with that voice, you will be able to receive that knowledge, or whichever knowledge, kind of knowledge you are trying to search. Okay. It is like tuning your radio set to a particular frequency. You'll start receiving that frequency, but first you have to tune. Okay. And these are higher frequencies. So there will be a frequency at which spirits are talking, like ma'am was saying, there will be a frequency at which gods are talking. But
Yeah,
within the
it is
human
something
bandwidth,
related to alternative reality.
yeah,
But I am having one more version of this, one more dimension of this consciousness. Actually, this consciousness is something with this three-dimensional world, and this alternative reality of it, we can term it as a super consciousness, for example. So this super dimension is something which we're dealing with the fourth dimension called time, which we can discuss in the concept of alternative reality. Alternative reality. But in terms of consciousness, which one thing I feel in the book which I wrote, Art of Queen, there is a character called Madan. He faces a very bad situations in the life and depression. He goes to very down stages in the life, and there he gets some torch-bearing episode with some other character. Basing on this, which what I want to communicate and convey is, we have a specific goal in the life, or we have a specific task or destiny of the life. We reach there. Because it's like a temple run game. Okay, for temple run, yeah, we are having the coins and we are running, we are reaching. What if all the coins are finished? You are having a goal. Okay, what if your goal is reached? What next? What is the relation? What is your admiration? What is your aspiration to go again, to take a kadam aage rakhne ke liye kya hai fir? So I think that there again, this consciousness, which is with our five basic abilities, which is your five basic senses, what we say, उसमें हमको जो will power है, and उसको हमको जो हमारा planning है, what is our planning, again from there again the consciousness will regenerate in us. Whatever the consciousness is there, that will be recreated and regenerated once if we reach that destination or target.
So the goal of consciousness is simple. See, your aim and consciousness aim are different. Your aim may be to reach somewhere or to acquire something. Consciousness, the aim of consciousness is to take you through a journey in which you will self-discover yourself. Okay, it deliberately takes you on a path where you will face certain problems which you will overcome, or which you will, it deliberately tests you, because only those problems or challenges will evolve you. So, I mean, if you like in Gita also, Krishna says, "Here, leave everything to me. I am the one who's making everything happen. You just do your part." All right. So the consciousness will make things tricky for you, or it will play around with you, because that playing or those journey will make you a better person. It will purify your soul. See, nothing is being done for your body. Okay, the karmas or the concept of karmas for your soul. I mean, your soul will get purified by if you keep facing those problems in which your heart is guiding you. Okay, just don't try to resist your heart so much. Just let it follow, whether it is problem, what is this, and I think it'll be easier for you to understand.
Yeah,
for us,
got it. Yes, that's nicely explained, Shikharji. And Hema ma'am, it's over to you regarding this alternative reality. What if I say this alternative reality is a fourth dimension which we are not related to with our five basic? Also, this alternative reality is the intimacy of our soul, which our soul must feel and go ahead. What do you say for this, if I say this?
I think I have a very different explanation on alternate dimensions as I understand it, because I am seeing it in comparison of linear time and cosmic time. So let me just give a couple of examples and explain. Basically, our comprehensive limitation is caused by our unconditional acceptance of linear time, because we only know of linear time. We have a past, present, and future. We are unaware of how to tune into cosmic time. And the question is, can we transcend linear time? So I have thought of an ingenious idea of a multiplex, And I do know that with the current pandemic, all theaters and multiplexes are shut. But I'm going to use this as an example to visually explain to you my perception of alternate dimensions, and I will then we can discuss on it. So when you go to a multiplex, you have to buy a ticket to see a movie, and let's assume that this multiplex has 6 movies running, and I am sitting in screen 2 because I want to see that movie. After some time, I want to watch the movie which is running in screen 5. So it means that I have to physically leave screen 2, buy a ticket and enter screen 5. We cannot just sit in screen 2 and say, okay, now I want to go to screen 5. It's not possible. So now in the next part of this example, I'm assuming that the multiplex does not have a roof. And we are going and very strategically sitting at a vantage point where you can look down and see all the 6 movies. So all are available to you, but you are still in the dimension of Earth because you're using your physical eyes and you cannot watch all 6 simultaneously. You can maybe glance at them, but you can't comprehend the movies. So now over to cosmic time. In cosmic time, we don't have a small multiplex. It's a giant multiplex, one in which thousands of films are running in thousands of theaters. Each film is one of your incarnation. Each film is running at exactly the same time in each theater. And in each film, you are playing a different role, but set in a different timeline. In this current lifetime, you have a physical form, but in all other lifetimes, you are in a spirit form. And since you are in a spirit form, from the spirit perspective, everything is simultaneous. It's cosmic time. There is no past, present, future. Everything is spread out like a vast panorama.
Yeah.
So this is my brief introduction. And now let us try and experience cosmic time with this example. So now let us assume 600 lifetimes, because we won't go into thousands, it's complicated. So right now, both of you have got 600 lifetimes. And since we have one current physical lifetime, we'll say 599 are in spirit form. But they are in the past and the future also. It's not limited to that. So let's choose 4 random ones. We'll choose 1660, 1750, 2020, and 2070. So the interesting aspect is that you can positively or negatively influence every past or future lifetime with your actions of your current 2020 life. So if you perform a good charitable deed, you are influencing all the other lives. And similarly, when you perform a negative deed, you are adversely influencing all the other lives. And your life, we'll say now 2020, is primarily influenced by our daily actions, our good deeds, our bad deeds. The other lives, the future and the past, receive a partial secondary influence. In other words, the magnitude of action stays with your physical life and you are simultaneously just partially influencing the other lives. So supposing you commit a crime, you murder someone, everything is adversely affecting other lives. Our current physical body, spiritual form, actually comprises of energy strands. Each strand is from different past lives or future lives, and they are uniquely interwoven to create this present life. It gives you your family situations, your positive circumstances, your shares, your sorrows, your joys. And therefore, it is essential to take complete responsibility for your actions. So this was actually my explanation using the multiplex to explain about the alternate dimensions. And since I would like to also add that since the theme of this literature festival is mental health and awareness, I would like to elucidate further by using this example. So unfortunately, a spate of suicides has shocked our nation and devastated families. So when a person commits suicide, their soul regresses back for hundreds of lifetimes. And with deep sorrow, I have to state that this life, which is snuffed out in 2020, is primarily affected. But the repercussions are experienced by each of the 599 lives, the past and the future. It's literally like falling off the spiritual pathway and stalling your evolutionary journey. So I would always request anyone to never take this drastic step because you're unaware of how you're adversely affecting your past and your future lives because everything is simultaneous. The only guidance which I can give is that all your problematic burdens have created mountains of worry in your mind that are bogging you down. These mountains are just to be carried in your, which you're carrying in your mind. We were just supposed to climb them and leave about them. But the problem is you're carrying these mountains around with you and you're not able to bear their weight, and then finally you take your life. And that is a very sad ending, and that is how we are adversely affecting our other lives. And this is my perception of the alternate dimensions, that everything happens in a different, as I said, the unicorns are around us, they're in a different dimension of time and space. And this is how I have just used this simple example where we can actually tune into cosmic time, where everything is simultaneous.
But now I am having a question for you in this. Yeah, I accept this. What if I say that in this alternative reality, what our eyes can't see, the mind doesn't know. Okay. Can we apply this to the alternative reality? Because we are seeing the sky, yes, that's the sky. Because the mind is capturing, yes, that is the sky, and our eyes is looking for it. And yes, I think there is an alternative world because you're looking at me, it's me, and it's the wall, it's the Lord Shiva idol at the back of me. Because our mind knows and our mind can read these things, and our eyes are capturing it. And maybe, what if I say there is an alternative world around us, alternative reality around us? Our eyes can see, but our mind is unable to read or unable to capture it, so that we can't recognize that.
See, let me answer this one.
Yeah.
Okay, we are there is no alternate reality. We are living in an alternative reality. I'll tell you, the process of creation is the process of reducing somebody's capacity or reducing somebody's size. Like if you want to create a bubble, that means you have reduced the size of an ocean to a bubble. Now, bubble may think it is a bubble, but it is actually part of ocean. Like I tell you, our visual spectrum is very small. Okay, what if I was able to somehow my visual spectrum expands? Will your face look same to me? No. So why I can see you is because I can see only that much spectrum. If I can see more than that, then I cannot see you. If I can hear more than the sound than what I am allowed to, our brain is actually a controlling agency. It restricts the capability of each and every organ. Because if you are able to go beyond, then maybe you can see the fourth dimension also. Then three-dimensional will not have any sense to you. It will not have any meaning to you. Like 2D does not have any meaning for us. Okay. Similarly, like this brain is doing with all. Okay. So evolution of consciousness is nothing other than breaking free from the shackles of the brain. Okay. Without hampering our five indriyas. Without hampering them.
Yeah, I'm crossing you here, but there is a sort of little disagreement here with you.
But the brain
the brain is controlling the organs. Okay. Do you think our brain is capable to capture this fourth dimension? What you're saying is, do you think whether it is capable to capture the fourth dimension? If it is capable to capture the fourth dimension, what to be done? What need to be done?
Your brain doesn't capture. Your soul captures. Brain only restricts your rest all the element. So by doing that, what you free the soul from these shackles, from the limitations that have been put on the brain by the brain. Okay. The moment you first, let me see, I give you drugs or I intoxicate you or this thing. Suddenly you start to see colors, this, that. You'll have an outwardly experience. Okay. All these people who take cocaine, heroin, on all these kind of drugs. Why do they do it? What? Because of the influence of that drug, for some time they lose their senses. They visit a out of the world reality. Once they come back to this, they cannot relate to this worldly reality. So it's a kind of thing which they've experienced. Now they cannot relate to the world they are living in. Okay, so brain doesn't do anything. Your soul is doing everything, but the soul is right now trapped in a body, and all the shackles have been put by the brain over there.
Yes.
I would
Now it's
just like
perfect.
to
So that's the
add to
reason.
Anil that when you said that we cannot see, you cannot see the alternate dimensions with your physical eyes. Whatever you see with your physical eyes is the earth dimension. You have to actually close your eyes and you have to see with your inner eye, and you have to understand it. As Shikhar said, the brain has limitations. You have to understand it with your intuition. It is the unconsciousness. As we say, we use 10% of our brain, and the 90%, which is not used, that is what accesses the alternate realms.
Hey, what is reality? When I'm in a state of deep sleep or when I'm awake? Which of these two are realities? Okay, like I read this quote somewhere. If we are not human bodies having spiritual experience, we are spiritual beings having human experience.
Very
Okay,
true. Very true.
so I mean, what among these two is true? When I'm sleeping and when I've lost sense of myself that I'm somebody, or when I'm awake and I'm fully conscious that I am a person. Consciousness is a very vast topic. Okay, everybody will have its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hema ma'am, I think it's the time was running, and I think we need to conclude here, and we are also having some other promotional part. And so
Yes.
for this conclusion part, just I want to add couple of lines. Just one thing: this mind is very curious, and it can go anywhere to achieve anything, and to see anything, to capture or to conquer anything. This mind can go because it's very curious part, and just have trust on it. And I just feel mansa vacha karmana. Just do what you think and speak. The integrity of this intent must be same to excel or to comprehend is what. Uh, and also, I think we can close this session with this, and we can have some promotional part. And I think yes, Hema, it's over to you for your promotional part of your book.
Yes. So actually, this topic was very interesting because my first few books have been on consciousness. So I have written the Karmic City trilogy series. This is the first book of the series, and this is the second book of the series, and this is the third book. So basically, in the Karmic City trilogy, I speak about the different levels of consciousness and how one can systematically go higher, or at least you comprehend how to go higher. So it's in a story form. It's about a group of people who meet a person. He calls himself the soul. He doesn't want any name so that anyone can strive to emulate him. And the soul imbibes knowledge, and he shares that with the group. And they have these group meetings over months and years, and then they all go systematically to higher levels of consciousness. This is the basic theme of the Karmic City trilogy. And then after that, I have now gone into a historical fiction, which is got a bit of psychic and clairvoyance. It's basically a murder mystery which is set in a Tijara fort palace. And the police detective who comes, he's psychic and clairvoyant. So he has solved the murder using omens and auguries and, receiving psychic and intuition insights. The entire murder is solved that way, and that book should be released maybe this year end. The book I am currently writing is about Atlantis and Dwarika. And Atlantis, as you know, there's a lot of intrigue and mystery about it, about the Bermuda Triangle. There are certain mysterious disappearances. So I have actually written about the ending of Atlantis, how it was annihilated. And it's a couple who's living in Goa, a young couple. It starts like that, and the girl's mother kills herself. And they are trying to understand certain things. And then the whole mystique of the Atlantis is revealed. How all of them, the couple, the police, and everyone was together in the Atlantis. So their lifetime, Atlantis has created this mystery here. And then I move on to Dwarka. which is a life in Dwarka, also affects their current life. So there's a lot of in and out of different civilizations. And basically, I have learned to read the Akashic records. So that allows me to access knowledge of past lives and use that for comprehensive guidance.
Just wonderful, ma'am. And just I'm also waiting to listen one more thing which you shared with me yesterday. Uh, the linkage between the ocean waves with Bhagavad Gita.
Yes,
so can you
yes.
please? I'm very interested on that topic.
Yeah. That was actually my first book, which is now currently I'm revising that book and hoping to reprint it soon. So I was strolling on the beach in Chennai and I had no clue that this was going to happen. My cousin sister and I had gone for an early morning walk. And suddenly when I saw the waves of the ocean coming towards me, the shloka from the Bhagavad Gita came into my mind that certain is birth for the dead and certain is death for the born. And therefore, over the inevitable, why do you grieve? And I started seeing that the waves which are coming in are being born, and the waves that are receding are actually death. And then I sat down on the beach and I thought it over. And subsequently, I came back. I was living in Bangalore that time. A few months later, I got married and I shifted to Goa. So then the book continues on in Goa. And I went continually to the ocean and received different insights from the ocean, sometimes of the turbulent ocean, sometimes of the waves rising and falling. And when the book is out, I will definitely let you know. It is a very interesting.
Yeah. Nice. And yeah, Shikhaji, now over to you. Please, I'm waiting. Actually, I saw your trailer. It's actually ऐसा लगा कि एक बाहुबली का ट्रेलर में देखा हूँ, बुक का ट्रेलर जैसा नहीं है. Seriously, every second of the trailer part is इतना fantastic, seriously fantabulous. इतना बढ़िया लगा मेरे को ट्रेलर देख के. एंड टू क्रिएट हो गया मेरे को. यार क्या मेरा बुक का साथ इसका बुक भी प्रमोट करूंगा. इतना seriously.
नहीं यार, thank you very much. That trailer was created because I could not explain people. See, the book it's a fictional story. It's a thriller. It's a very enjoyable read. If you are reading as a layman, because my aim was to introduce the concepts. I'm not going into too much of details, but like there are hundreds of small concepts which I want first people to read so that they're aware that something like this is there. And I think people do, when they like a concept or topic, they do their own research nowadays. Everything is available on Google and on social media. So first, let me just, my aim is to just create awareness that people know that so many things happen around us, and give my perspective also. And the trailer is available on YouTube. Okay, my book is The Consciousness Games. It will be available shortly, and I'm only a first time author, so this is my first attempt. But yes, it has taken me 5-6 years to write this. Okay, thank you.
That's wonderful. And I think now I should take some time to explain regarding my book. Yes, and I wrote a book, the name Art of Win. It's unrealized story, unrealized version between in the relation between man and woman. It's like a man collectively made by women, different women. Actually, different women in different relations comes in a man's life, starting from mother, sister, love lady, crush, wife and daughter. So in different forms of life, man have different relations with women and in different phases of life. So how the woman transform the man? What only woman can transform the man? What other man cannot transform? What only a woman can transform in the man? How a man transforms from the woman? How he better? How his version will be the better to the world? So basing on this, with a love story, I have described the book, and it will be. I think I felt very happy while writing the book, and also some tension, stress also I took, because the book story basically starts with a man's life at his school age and college age, and from there it goes till it's 30-35 years of his life, and there are many ups and downs in his life. How it was treated and where, and also the travel which just goes from Visakhapatnam to Delhi to Varanasi to Kashi, and from there again to Kolkata and again to Visakhapatnam. So this is the where I think with the dates, I just mentioned the dates also, year and date, just to bring a feel that yes, it's a connectivity to make it more connectable. And also, I got a very common feedback from the book, which released from my friends and well-wishers, that yes, we felt that it's like we are seeing. It's like we can visualize what you wrote. Your writing is such a thing like that, but that we can visualize how you wrote and what you wrote. And this got some good feedback. And also, as a conclusion point of my book, I just want to say to all the ones who are watching this, my book is completely raw version and a honest narration. So my book contains a raw version and honest narration. The people who like this, who are in this bucket, can only enjoy. And I openly can say, whoever won't like this raw versions and honest narration, it's not their bucket of book, right? And yes, and thank you. I think we must conclude this session. And I take opportunity to thank you both. Yes, ma'am. You want to say something?
I was wondering if we have a few minutes. I have a question for Shikhar.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So my question is, that you are professionally a helicopter pilot, and you have written this book on consciousness. So I want to reverse the whole situation and ask you, were you destined to write this book on consciousness and thus you became a helicopter pilot, or was it the other way around? You chose to become one and then you thought of writing a book?
Ma'am, I don't know. See, sincerely, I don't know, because yes, a lot of people ask me that I am right now, I'm I'm constantly occupied in my job, and book writing came out of nowhere. I mean, I'm literally telling you, it is not a thing which I don't intend to now also to become a full-time writer. I will continue doing whatever I'm doing, but it just came, and it came so, in a way that I thought, it is something which I have to do. This is writing is a kind of art form. Okay, it, like, if there's a painter, he has to paint. If he doesn't paint, he will, not like, that is life for him. So at some point of time, it suddenly became my passion. I have to write. If I don't write, this artistic feeling you don't do for anything. It is not how much book will sell or whether it will sell, or it's a kind of calling which you have to answer. I mean, it must have happened with everybody,
I agree with you. That's what happened to me also. I just had that calling, and I started writing. I'm actually a commerce graduate. I wanted to become a CEO of a company, and I do Spark. So it's an inner calling.
Yeah. That is.
Yeah, and one more thing which we forgot to say, actually, while discussing with Shikharji, he said one beautiful concept which I want to share here. Yes, the most happening part in India, and what is the product which India exported a lot in the history of this 1 or 2,000 of years of Indian history, is spiritualism. India is the only country which exported spiritualism to the world. And this is what our topic is today. We discussed, and we are glad to discuss this topic. And yes, I feel the Western countries have taken the concept of devotion, spiritualism, and gods, and whatever the name which we can call, and they have changed the names and they termed the names to other names, just as a consulting group. Just they have done the consulting group of parts, and they have shared to the other world. I think every origin of the spiritualism, or the power energy which is driving this entire universe, has been taken from our country, India, and India is the largest exporter, is the only exporter of spiritualism, which I feel, and I agree with Shikhar.
Yes.
Chalo. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Thank you, and it's nice. I'm looking forward for next other session, and hope we will do good. Okay. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks, Anil. Thanks for coordinating.
Thank you, Shikharji, and salute to you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, buddy. Jai Hind.